Hello and welcome to the Breakfast Show on TSL Nigeria TV. Great to have you here at Matters on the Ground this wonderful Monday morning. On the Breakfast Show, we tend to serve you everything from politics, profession and health. But today, our major focus will be on health as we discuss burns, causes and prevention. This is something we tend to overlook a lot of time. My name is Zaisi Udwefe. Stay with me. After the break, I will introduce to you my special guest and my amazing co-host. Thank you for sticking around. This morning on the Breakfast Show, I have with me Nurse Edith. You're not an unfamiliar face here, so welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Just so you know, she was here, but we talk about things concerning midwifery, stuffs and all. But today, our focus is going to be on bones and plastic. And I have with me Faith Imai. Thank you for being here, my darling. Good morning.
Thank you.
Great to have you. Great to have you here on set again. But first, let's begin with, I know that you're someone who's very passionate about your profession.
Yeah.
How have you been dealing with the strike matter? Tell us, honestly.
It's sad. It's sad that we live in a nation where majority of our people are in the low socioeconomic class, and we can afford to allow the hospitals shut down for this long period of time. We're going to talk about bonds, we're talking about avoidable debts, causing a lot of avoidable debts again, because many people cannot afford some of the private facilities, and some of the private facilities are not up and doing. They're just like mere business center. They open to make money.
Just to make money.
Yes, because some of them don't even know what they are doing. Some are not professionals in the things that they dare to do because there's nowhere for the patient to go. They just put them there.
And there's one thing I noticed about most, I don't say all, but most private hospitals, they don't have qualified nurses. They don't.
Just start by asking, is the person even qualified to handle the case that is admitted into his facility? Let us start from there. A lot of things are wrong, but it's very sad and shameful that as a nation we allow strike of any sort in any sector for an hour, for a day, for weeks, now running into months. It's a show of shame. It shows how failed our system is, sincerely.
Oh well, like we say for Nigeria, we always hope that things will get better. Let's get straight into the business of the day. But don't forget, on Facebook, you can drop your comments and we'll do well to take them. As you drop them, we'll read them out and also get feedback from our nurse Edith on set today. Let's begin with burns. This is something that we tend to overlook, and it happens a lot of times at homes, workplaces and stuff like that. So let's just start by giving a broad definition or a narrow definition of what burns are first.
Okay, if I have to go professionally, you would say burns is coagulative necrosis of the skin plus or minus underlying tissue.
My goodness.
What am I talking about? Destruction. You know, if you put egg in a saucepan, kind of coagulates, it shrinks. That's what burns does. The skin, now it is spread out, but if there is water, hot water, anything that affects it, it shrinks and pulls off. That's that coagulation. You know, that's what it means. Don't mind the medical jargon. But destruction of the skin plus or minus underlying tissue. And what causes it? Have hot water, hot soup, hot liquid, anything hot. You have flame from kerosene explosion, gas explosion. You have chemicals. And of course, most chemical burns come from assault. You don't want to marry me. You've eaten my money. You don't want to pay. Nobody else will marry you.
Pour you acid and disfigure the face.
Yes, for vindictive purpose. Then for electrical burns, you have electrical burns. That one is commoner among young men because they are more daring. They're into electrical works. Then also for children, a house where you have toddlers, you have children that crawl around, you are plugging water in an open space, that child will suffer double burns. Burns from the hot water and electrocution, electrical burns. So both things happening in one person. So those are some of the things that cause burns. In the workplace, like we have a lot of electrical appliances here. Somebody is stepping out, what we ought to switch off, we leave it on. With power surge, we can have fire burn occurring in this kind of a place. So long and short, burns happens everywhere you have human beings. Now, fire is our friend. For us to cook our meal, we need fire. If you want to keep warm, you need the heat from the fire. But when the things go sour, it becomes our enemy. It becomes a major cause of death.
Wow. Now, let's also go further. You know, most times when burns tend to happen, especially at home, and when neighbors come out, you hear things like, pour butter, pour water, you know, stuff like that.
Like this and do like that.
That brings us to the first aid management of burns.
Okay.
No matter the cause of the burns, the first aid, the ideal first aid for burns is water. Lavage, lavage, lavage. You flush.
Water, room temperature?
Room temperature from the tap. So a child has burns. Just get the child to the bathroom. Put on the shower. Pour water until the pain stops, because that will help to reduce the heat. Because if the child is putting on a cardigan, for example, remove that, wet the place, let water flow, let water run, because the cardigan retains the heat. If the cardigan is still there, the burns will be going deeper, to be eating in much more. So the heat is still there, the cause of burns is still there, is not removed, the burns go deeper. So the first aid management to wash it off, you dilute it, even if it is hot water, whatever it is, just put the child under a running tap. There's no running water, you have tepid water in the drum, pour over the child until the pain stops. If it is a limb, put inside a bucket of water, a bowl of water, until the pain stops, to reduce the depth of the burns that can still continue, even if the child has, maybe somebody is in a place and you have hot water on, and you start running. You have not done yourself any favor, because the clothes are still on you. The duration of contact of whatever is the cause of the burns, or the clothes that you are putting on, the kind of the stuff it is made of, can worsen the kind of burns.
I wish I'd known earlier, years back though, we had a case of 2 girls. I think we were in the kitchen cooking. I think the stove they were using just caught fire. Exploded. And we, instead of pouring water on them, we just tend to put them in the car. We're just driving them. You know, so I think it got worse, because before we got to the hospital,
that's burning
before we got to the hospital, everything was just really messy.
So this water thing, like, is the first step.
That's the first aid management for burns. Not egg. We find to put in the raw egg.
Okay, I've seen people
that use egg. You are making the wound a culture medium. Anywhere you put egg is protein. Microorganisms grow on it. So putting it on the wound, you are going to make that patient stay longer in the hospital. You are complicating the issue.
How about palm oil? I see people use palm oil as first aid. How does that work?
If you have a cut, put palm oil. It's even painful. That's one. No, they put it because they're kind of liquid, but it does not have any therapeutic value.
Okay, so I thought it had like these soothing effects on the burn.
No, the only thing that will have soothing effects, that also have an antiseptic effect, is honey.
Okay, so honey works.
We use honey even in the hospital, yes. Honey works.
Okay. But water before honey?
Water before
first,
honey.
Before honey.
Water, primary first aid management treatment for burns, water.
Okay.
Water.
So I've also heard about different degree of burns, and some people would say it was so bad, this person could not survive it, or it wasn't that bad, the person did not have to die.
We classify burns differently. You can classify burns according to the depth, that is, if it is full thickness, partial thickness, superficial thickness, or some would say first degree, second degree, third degree. If it's affecting just the epidermis, just the epidermis layer, it is first degree. But if it goes beyond the epidermis to the dermis, it becomes second degree. Now, sometimes it can go up to the muscles, up to the bones. There is even third and fourth degree. The damage that is done at that point is far much worse for the patient to recover from. Now, the chances of survival in that case becomes much more slimmer. Then you can also say, okay, categorize it according to the bone surface area. Is it 5% of the total body surface area? Now, for every human being, for an adult, it is 100%. 9, anterior trunk 18, posterior trunk 18, or lower limb, each of them 18. The perineum is 1%. Now, if you sum it all up, it is 100%. Now, if you do our estimation, and now say, oh, this person have 20% bones, chance of survival is better than somebody that have 80% bones. Now, 80 over 100. You have 20 left. Now, add to the age of the patient.
Okay.
So sometimes by the time you add the age to the extent of burns, you have 150. So what's the chance of survival? Minus 50.
Wow.
Really?
So have we had any situation where someone with an 80% burn survived?
The one we had that survived wasn't quite up to 80. He was about 70 something. Gas explosion. And he was able to pull through by the mercy of God. Wow. I know that requires a lot of sacrifice. What I tell people, 2 things about burns. Burns is very expensive to manage, and burns is very painful. I'm a burns and plastic nurse, so I know what I'm talking about. It's very expensive to manage. It is very painful. People come around to say, I want to see my patient in the hospital. Sorry. Sorry does not remove pain. What the person needs is support with everything that you can use to support the person. They need money for drugs. They need a lot of multivitamins. They need a lot of fruits and vegetables. They need all the support, not sorry. Okay,
so can you give us on a scale of 1 to 10, what is the rate of burn cases in the medical center you operate in, or let's say in
I work in a UBTH. For us in UBTH, we don't even manage burns only from Benin.
Okay.
We get patients from Ondo. Wow. We get patients majorly from Delta State. Now it has reduced a great deal. I don't know. I think a patient opened up to us to say that behind the river, the escravos, they have people that manage them if they have burns. Okay. It's only when those ones cannot cope, they bring them out. No, bunkering is an illegal activity.
Are they medical personnel or they do
traditional
not medicine?
But because bunkering is an illegal activity. Okay. Now, when they get involved in bunkering and they get burnt in the process, they are afraid that if they come out, they may be arrested, government may set in. Because of that, they don't open up. If not, you can have 80% burn, 100% burn, they come roasted, head to toe. Wow. After pulling through, they give us stress. Let me use that word. At the end of the day, they pass away.
Let's go deeper into the plastic part of the burns. Where and when does this come in?
Now, if we are talking about plastic, that refers to the activities or things that will be done to repair what has gone wrong. Now, if a patient got involved in burns and in the course of treatment, the patient had contracture. I'm sure you've seen people that had burns in the past. Maybe their neck is splintered, their hand is contracted. In management of burns, the position of comfort is a position of complication. A patient will tell you, it's paining me, I don't want to move, and they stay like this. Over time, they will heal up like that. I had a patient some time ago, we were telling him, move your hand, do this. He was like, people are wicked. There was a day he asked his mom that he wanted to drink bottled malt. You know, most people prefer can. But this young man demanded for bottled malt, and the mother wanted to get it from him. When he finished, and my colleague went there and said, Mr. A, it's time for us to move, you know. We play with them, play music, make them dance. Just a way of exercising those joints.
Just so they don't get stiff.
He got offended and broke the bottle of malt. That was why he demanded for a bottle of malt. Wow. He broke it. I was going to stab my colleague.
Whoa.
Why? No, how did you ask this? Don't you know it is painful?
Oh.
So we had to encourage him. It's all for your good. We took time to explain. As much as he wasn't cooperating, we left him. Today, I still see him. I call him PlayStation because the hands are like this now. The hand cannot go down beyond this. It's contracted. The position of comfort is position of complication. When the nurse tells you, move your hand, it's not because she hates you. It is easier for me to go ahead and feed you and walk away than to encourage you to feed yourself, because I will spend more time trying to attend to you. So when we want to go out of our way to ensure you do things for yourself, it's not an act of, we are not being callous, we are not being wicked, because we know that at the end of the day, anybody seeing you with, if I not see you and you end up with contracture, it's not, for me, I have failed. If I was proactive as a good nurse, I shouldn't have that as a complication when you pass through my care. So that is why we don't want to end that bad reputation. We want to make effort. No, do it for yourself. Some parents will tell you, this one, they don't work. No, they are very lazy. They don't want to do anything. They want the patient to do it by themselves. It's not about being lazy. Because at the end of the day, you are the one that go and spend money to do surgeries to release contracture. That's where your plastic surgery now comes in. Now begin to do surgeries to repair what has been made wrong in the course of treatment for burns. Sometimes there are also plastic surgical cases. There may be people that have small breasts. They want to do augmentation mammoplasty. They do come in for surgeries to increase the size of their breast, the size of their buttocks. Those are other plain plastic surgery. Somebody, my nose is not pointed enough. I want it to be refractioned. That's also a kind of plastic surgery. So that is different from reconstructive surgery that you have when you have burns complications. Are there any cases whereby, I think I've heard over time where some people say they take skin from, I think their thighs. That's skin grafting. Okay. And if there is a wound that is very deep, like we're talking about the degrees of burns, maybe a 3rd degree burn, and healing is going to be difficult, it will take longer time. Instead of keeping the patient in the hospital for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, or sometimes up to 4 months, waiting for the wound to heal. By the time the wound is clean enough, there's enough granulation tissue, you take skin from another part of the body, can be from the back, can be from the thigh, to cover that end. It will reduce the duration of stay in the hospital. It will save them more money, it will save them more time. So that, because if the wound is deep, and you now say, no, I want to let it heal by itself, it will surely heal by secondary intention and with contractures. Because I'm sure you see some persons, their finger will twist up. Like this. Then some will just come and twist in. Different forms of hair like that. So if the wound is deep, instead of waiting for the wound to heal over time with complications, go ahead and do skin grafting. That will save us a lot of money. So
the skin grafting, is it on the package, or you have to pay extra money for it? Because maybe some people cannot afford it. Maybe is it part of the process, the medical process, or you have to pay separately for skin grafting? If you need skin grafting, you pay for skin grafting. It's not everybody that will undergo skin grafting. If a patient had 50% superficial burns, that patient does not require skin grafting. But somebody can have 20% 2nd degree or 3rd degree burns that is deeper. Maybe depending on the location, where it can cause. If it's on the abdomen, for example, you and I wear dresses. We don't need that to be covered. Even if it heals with all kinds of complications, we don't, all contractures, we don't mind. But if it's going to be on the face, it's going to be on the leg or on the hand, where it will be obvious
For cosmetic reasons, what you have to do is to do plastic surgery, to do skin grafting or a flat cover so that that patient can perform normally.
Okay, so I would like to know how you have been, as a medical person, how you've been able to deal with victims of burns that actually recovered and do not look like themselves, do not look like the way they used to look. Is there any form of counseling that they go through to make them feel better?
For a few that we've had, you know, for confidentiality sake, you can't start showing people's photograph without their consent.
Yeah.
For the few that we have, first, for anybody that have contractures from burns, that have funny looks, don't get discouraged. Praise God you are alive. Let us start from there. Okay. Then, depending on where the injury is. Like, for example, maybe following the burns, the patient lost the ear. Okay. It's very simple. If you're a lady, you dress cosmetically. Just pack your hair in that direction. The way my sister is packing her hair and she doesn't have an ear, you won't know. So such things happen. So you can dress to suit that purpose. Yeah. You can make your hair you pack it in that faction, and nobody knows what is happening, what has happened, or what has gone wrong there. If it is on your hand, you wear long sleeve. Depending on where you are going to.
But those are temporary. Those are temporary
measures. If you cannot afford to undergo the surgeries that you need, and no matter the amount of surgeries that you do, it cannot be as natural as God made it. It's only Him that is God. No man is God. Yeah. So if you now see that, whatever that is left, residual contractures, you feel shy, depending on the kind of work that you do, you cannot cope with it. Dress to suit your purpose and move on.
All right, question I have. Okay, go ahead. A quick question here. We talk about people who you tend to do it and do exercise with just to help themselves. What about little babies? Let's say 6 months old now who maybe
children are easier to manage.
Okay.
You know why children don't pretend. They want to play. They want to express themselves. Okay. If a child wants something from you, you want to reach out. But for adults, especially ladies who are attention seekers,
oh my goodness,
you just lie down there. Bele, thank you. You want barbecue. You want ice cream. You just be there as if the world is crumbling down on you.
Oh my God.
So those are part of the things. But for children, if you want a child to be active, get a colored football. They want to reach out for it. Yeah. They want to stretch their hands. So unconsciously they move. But for those of us that are a little grown up, strategy to catch me,
I was giving you a story about my kid sister when she had a burn on her chest, and this was just the way she was moving around the house. Even when she got healed, she got everybody was like, "Can you get back to normal life?" She said, "Can't you see? I cannot do anything." So this stuff you're saying right now actually reminded me of that. Anyway,
for them it's defensive.
Let's talk about preventive measures. Is there anything
there are so many things you can do
to ensure that people avoid these burns in the first place? Let's say that is a case, not a case of carelessness, but this was actually something they could not handle. It was beyond control. Is there any measure put in place?
For individuals, there was a time I used to go to EBS in the mornings to do public enlightenment on burn prevention. On a particular day, I was coming back at New Benin, I saw a woman. Now you they talk for television just now and say, if one matches remain, may we off. If I assume that one matches can't remain, I'll confer off the lantern. Then if I come on and not come, my family can't sleep darkness. What kind of mentality?
Can you imagine?
Now the point is this: it is a taboo. It is wrong. Never refuel a littered lamp. For those of us that still use lamp, NEPA is not always there for all of us. Some of us still use littered lanterns. Don't refuel when it is on. Don't refuel your stove that is on and you are cooking already. Now, if the wig on your stove isn't complete, maybe there is one gap, I'm sure you must have experienced when we're growing up, you hear that sound, boom. So if the kerosene is adulterated, that's why you have explosion coming from kerosene stove. And most of the kerosene we have in the market, they are adulterated from local refineries around neighboring states. So the process of distillation is not complete. So you still have a mix of fuel and everything together. So that is why I have a lot of kerosene explosions. So if you want to refuel a lamp, we have a family. So bad to mention. The young girl was reading for exam and the lantern was going off. The dad was going to help to refuel. And the thing exploded. Father, 5 children, all died.
Oh my goodness.
It's as bad as that. So there's no shortcut. And in life, there's doing it right in all things. Learn to do it right when it comes to. In the evenings when we're growing up, you wash the globe of the lamp in the evening. You refuel the lantern with a matches box on it to keep it aside. So when it is dark, anybody that is around, know where to meet it and put it on. That should be the same practice that we should continue with. No shortcut.
Also, for people who use generators, I still see people trying to
fueling generators, especially when Arsenal and Man U they are playing. They don't want to lose any chance for Big Brother Nigeria. Nothing will happen. I went for a naming ceremony. The guy was winning. I told him, say, Mama, forget that thing now today. I said, no, be today.
Actually, for Babin Salah,
so today, because of me, grace will cover you. But the day it will happen, I will remind you when you come and meet me in Bonsword. When I mentioned that, he now stayed put in order not to do it. You are cooking in the kitchen. Your saucepan, the window shouldn't be on the walkway.
Yeah.
The mouth of the kettle shouldn't be on the walkway. Children shouldn't play in the kitchen.
My mom always shouts for that.
Children shouldn't play in the kitchen. Like we mentioned earlier, you don't boil water on the veranda when you have toddlers in the house that play around. You want to bathe your children. Put cold water in the bucket. Carry that bucket to the kitchen and add the hot water. You don't carry hot water in a bucket or a bowl across the room because children can run and bump into you and everybody will get bumped. So those are some of the preventive measures that we can adopt as families and as individuals.
My goodness, time is fast spent and I just really wish we could continue. But thank you so much. This has been so enlightening. If you're watching out there, please, everything Nosidita said today, put into consideration because the amount of pains you're going to go through for bonds. In fact, I've not been myself, I've been uncomfortable on this set because talking about the degrees of bonds and stuff and skin grafting, it just goes to show that, it's better safe than trying to go and meet Nosidita.
Prevention is safer, better, heavier than cure.
Please. Try your best to put these things in place and keep yourself and your family safe. That's as much as we can take on the breakfast show today. It's been an amazing time. On Wednesday, we're back in your faces with Hot Stuff Wednesdays. You know how we keep it now. Very, very hot. Do well, stay safe. My name is Daisy Odwe for 8 Day Hot. Like, come your way again. Take care.
Stay connected to TSL Nigeria and get updates on the go all day, every day. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on TSL Nigeria Space TV and join our online family.